Shalom, loved ones. My name is Troy Cady, and I invite you to join me now as I offer midday prayers with PlayWell communities. PlayWell is a faith network of those who are learning to live by the unforced rhythms of grace. To help us keep time to the rhythm of God's heartbeat and the movement of God's love, we like to pause to pray at various times throughout the day when we are able. Throughout March, we are celebrating Women's History Month, and as part of that celebration, I've been reading from women authors on some of these days. Today, we will feature the wonderful poetry of the former United States Poet Laureate, Kay Ryan. It's a poem from her book called The Best of It, and the poem is called Force. Well, with that, let's get ready. We light this candle as a reminder that Christ, the light of the world, is present with us. Hear the words of Jesus from Matthew chapter 11 as translated by Eugene Peterson in the Message. Jesus says, "Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace." In the middle of the day, we return to you, Jesus, our center. In you, we live and move and have our being. Like parched souls searching for a spring, we thirst for you and your ways. With joy, we draw water from the wells of your salvation. Let's take some moments of silence just to enjoy God now. We like to remind ourselves of our core identity as God's beloved. When we come to the middle of the day, we need that reminder, that reorientation. And so here's a confession that reminds us of who we are. I'll say it a little phrase at a time and leave a little bit of silence after each phrase so that you can make this confession your own. I believe that I am God's beloved child. I am learning to let God's love fill my heart, to let it shape my life. So I may be just who God has made me to be, nothing more and nothing less. That I may abide in love and share God's love with all that I am. Amen. Here's a poem where the former Nobel Laureate of the United States, Kay Ryan, talks about the different ways of viewing force, the word force. And the poem is called Force. Nothing forced works. The Gordian knot just worsens if it's jerked at by a person. One of the main stations of the cross is patience. Another, of course, is impatience. There is such a thing as too much tolerance for unpleasant situations. A time when the gentle teasing out of threads ceases to be pleasing to a woman born for conquest. Instead, she must assault the knot or Alp or Everest with something sharp and take upon herself the moral warp of sudden progress. I love how she plays with the idea of the meaning of that word force. On the one hand, she encourages us not to force anything. And on the other hand, she encourages all of us, and especially women in this poem, to access their own interior strength, the spirit force within them, to live life to the fullest. To pursue freedom, life, liberty. Let me read that again, just so that we can let its sentiments sink into our hearts as we continue celebrating Women's History Month with this wonderful poem entitled Force. Nothing forced works. The Gordian knot just worsens if it's jerked at by a person. One of the main stations of the cross is patience. Another, of course, is impatience. There is such a thing as too much tolerance for unpleasant situations. A time when the gentle teasing out of threads ceases to be pleasing to a woman born for conquest. Instead, she must assault the knot or Alp or Everest with something sharp and take upon herself the moral warp of sudden progress. We commit to you the work that is done and the work that is yet undone. May your beauty rest upon us, Lady Wisdom. We trust you will complete the incomplete. We believe you will finish what you started. May we meet you on the road with us, Brother Jesus. As we labor, be our resting place. Please make our work restful and our rest fruitful. May we remain present to your presence, Great Spirit. And now receive this blessing. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things are passing. God never changes. Patient endurance attains to all things. Whom God possesses, in nothing is wanting. Alone, God suffices. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me in today's prayer, midday prayers with PlayWell Communities. I hope you have a good rest of the day. I invite you to keep joining me throughout March as we continue our celebration of Women's History Month in these times of prayer. Above all, be loved because you are beloved.